Tom Williams, and this will be my final video. I was at Steppenwolf Theater today in their 1700 space that was used for Straw Dog Theater doing a show. And as I was watching the show, which by the way was pretty good, it was certainly ambitious. While I was watching this show, I was thinking, what am I doing here? I got this sudden feeling of saying, I don't want to do this anymore. Maybe it was a combination of things. Maybe it was because I've done over 4,500 shows in the last 17 and a half, almost 18 years. Maybe I'm a little burned out. I don't know. It could be. Maybe it was a combination of nobody seems to want to be involved or has any interest in Stage Talk Theater, particularly the new show I was attempting to do, Critics Talk. Nobody in the theater community seems to be that interested in it. So I said to myself, is it worth it? I mean, I don't make money off this. And I love the idea of it, and I love the idea of promoting theater, but none of my friends seem to be too interested in it. Nobody's offered to say, hey, I want to get on board. What do I have to do? If I mentioned it to them, they were lukewarm at best. So that and some of the interviews I've set up, people started canceling for different reasons. They weren't available. They didn't have a webcam, all sorts of excuses. And I thought, well, that would really work. Doing videos, interviews would really, help put the butts in the seats. But I guess nobody seems to care. So I'm just not going to do it. And I've already spent a lot of money and a lot of time, and my technical friend has put in a lot of time and creativity into this, but it just seems that people just don't want to do it. So that's out. Now getting to reviewing, I've looked at my schedule for the month of September, and then with a few others that I haven't booked yet. I looked around, and there's really no shows I really have a passion to see. Many of them I've seen more than once, and some of the others, when I've read the description, they just don't seem to, light my fire. And so therefore, I think it's time for me to retire. And by the way, that has nothing to do with those attacks on me. Those attacks on me would continue. And I did receive a reply, and out of 4,500 reviews I've done in my life, they seemed to find 5 of them that they thought were questionable. And several of the 5 were accurate descriptions that they found offensive, but I didn't write the play and I didn't act it out. One was about a African-American reverend who goes from this right-wing evangelicus to ripping his coat off, and he's got pink on, and he's really a flamboyant gay boy. They found that offensive, my description of it. How can a description of what happened be offensive? And a couple others were like that. Anyhow, I'm tired of that. That's really not an excuse. They found the thing that says they could stop any reviewer, make them pay for it. But I'll be damned if, with the numbers that I was producing, over 70,000 visitors a month, and average page view of 5 page views per visitor, if that isn't good enough to get 1 or 2 tickets, then the hell with them. And many of those shows I didn't really want to see. It's just enough. And I've had enough. I'm going to move on to some other ventures. And I'm going to get some email from some of my loyal friends, which I appreciate. And they're going to say, don't quit, don't give up. I'm not giving up. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of going to the shows. I'm tired of waiting for the buses. I'm tired of, seeing a lot of very mediocre theater. There's good stuff out there. And I've seen, I was at Timeline the other night for the audience, and that was fantastic. And I was at Gypsy, which was very good. But the other two I saw of my last four were absolutely terrible. So I had two highly recommended and two not recommended. And the problem is I'm not that good a judge to only pick out the ones that are highly recommended. So I'm just kind of tired of the whole thing. Maybe if I spend some time binge watching things on Hulu or Netflix, that would satisfy me, because I still love a great story. But I've just had enough. And I want to say thank you to all those who have been so kind and loyal through the years. And I want to get the word out to all of the people, my other reviewers who are committed to shows. There's going to be no place to put the reviews, because I need to bring Chicago Critic down or sell it as soon as possible, because on or before the 6th of September, I have to pay another $125 because I have a dedicated server, and something I'm not going to keep up. I don't want to pay another $125. So if you're interested in my site, send me an email or give me a call. My number's on the site, and I'm willing to take whatever kind of deal. And if there's a reviewer around, even some of my former reviewers who want to take over the site, the only thing you'll have to do is either switch to dedicated server or switch it over in your name and pay the $125. If you do that, you can have the site. So that's about all I have to say. And I appreciate the 17 years I've been involved in that. I've had many great nights. And what I'm going to miss the great shows at Steppenwolf. I'm at Goodman, at Chicago Shakes, and some of the other great theaters like Court and Northlight. I'm going to miss those particularly. Timeline I'm going to miss. And, of course, the Lyric Opera. I love the opera, and the season coming up. I hope to get to see some of the shows, but I'm not going to be able to review them. Maybe if somebody has an extra ticket, some of the other reviewers, I'd love to see some of those operas. But at this point, I just have to walk away from it. I'm mentally burned out. I'm still a little aggravated at the way I was treated by some of the younger ones. And, they're gonna woo the day. I said to someone today, I said, it's like replaying the Crucible or the McCarthy hearings, the way I've been treated. Only this time it's from the left. This is left-wing fascism, and they're gonna woo the day. You kind of. I was ready to quit because I'm kind of burned out, but you guys gave me that extra push. So if you want to consider that a victory, fine. Consider it a victory. You won. However, you're not going to have a site that's going to bring the kind of numbers that I bring in, and you're not going to have the promotion of a online TV show because there's just not enough interest in it. And the thought it came to me let's go back and do podcasts. Well, I have to put all the effort in, and I'm just not getting enough cooperation. So, if they don't want to do it, that's fine. I'll march on. I'll keep going. And, it's too bad that this has to be this way. But you're going to end up with most reviewers being, it's the greatest show they ever saw. Everything is good. They alibi for bad shows. When they can't hear people or they can't understand them, they don't even mention that, And if you think in the long run that's going to help you, wait till people go to see the lousy shows out there, the few that are lousy. And after they've read reviews that alibied for the show or recommended or highly recommended shows that were just bad to mediocre, they're going to have no credibility. You can say what you want about me, but I was honest and I called it the way I saw it. When I didn't like it, it was not recommended. When there was no audience for it, it was not recommended. When there was an audience and it was a decent production, even if I didn't like the genre, like rock musicals, stuff like that, I still recommended it because it was a valid piece of theater. You're not going to see that anymore. After, with me being gone, and after eventually Hetty is going to retire, you're going to have very few people. You're going to have almost no one that's going to say, "Don't go see that show." They're all so worried about the tickets. And now that the small theaters have the power to take away the comp tickets, like they think that affected me at all. I could care less. It's the principle of the thing. I've earned the tickets. My site has earned the tickets because we have a big following. But guess what, folks? You're not going to have that anymore. In the meantime, for all those great nights of theater that I've had and the great theater people that I've met, I've interviewed over 320 theater people. Unfortunately, 11 of those have now passed on. But I've met some of the finest people I've met in my life, and I'm kind of going to miss them. But I have fond memories of them. So just go see the good theater out there, and if you start seeing reviewers that are alibiing for shows or highly recommending shows that everyone else are saying are mediocre or even bad, don't give them any credibility. They're just people that are out there to mooch tickets, so they're gonna say everything is great, and all they're really doing is not a service to their writers, or really in the long run, not a service to those theater companies, because those theater companies, kind of think after a while when they get those kind of reviews that when guys like me write an honest review and say it the way it is, then we're the bad guys. Well, if that's the kind of theater you want, then when you go broke, because people eventually they catch on, you reap what you sow. In the meantime, I've had a lot of good times, but I've just had enough. Thank you.